truth be told, this is actually a really frustrating movie, and it's thus kind of frustrating to review as well. See, this is going to be another one of those cases where I'm going to have to do a spoiler thing at the end that you can skip if you want, because the fact is, this is a rare case where one too cute by half plot twist can completely change the entire experience of having watched a film retroactively from good to less good. So if I didn't at least give you the option of letting me explain why, it's going to feel really disjointed when I cap off what will otherwise probably sound like a positive review with a so-so score. Confused? Well, fortunately, the movie itself is nice and simple. This is the umpteenth unofficial redo of The Most Dangerous Game, but as a pitch-dark satire about contemporary American politics instead of a bleak metaphorical thriller about classism, but also still a little bit about classism. See, I'm not sure if they still make you read in school, so The Most Dangerous Game is that story where the psycho rich guy hunts people for sport, and since literally everyone who'd never even heard the name of that story just thought of like 100 times they'd seen that premise anyway and said, oh, that's where that's from. The hunt is thusly able to just jump right into the scenario. A dozen or so regular folks find themselves dumped onto unfamiliar grounds of a mysterious manor, where a team of at first unseen wealthy elites intend to hunt and kill them. And while there's a Hunger Games-esque weapons cache waiting for the prey to use, the hunters have the better ones, and only a few of the prey even know how to use them or fighters survive in general. So it's not long after a few protracted, rather excellently staged slaughter and chase sequences, vastly helped by the canny touch of casting a couple slightly more recognizable classes of B-list stars among the first to eat it, that we establish the actual protagonist as the victim played by Betty Gilpin. And folks, she is with no exaggeration the reason to go see this movie. Eventually, when you're allowed to leave your house again. See, I know she already has a fan base from Glow, but this is a very different turn, and I can't remember the last time I saw such an instantly iconic "this is a born action heroine" performance by an actress. Like everyone else in the film, she is playing a stock character, a taciturn, lethally effective Afghan war veteran who knows her way around the guns, how to think tactically, and is more than the bad guys bargained for in this case, because you've always got to have one of those in one of these movies. But as I live and breathe, there hasn't been a better example of a good actor taking a character designed as a pile of action hero cliches and turning it into a real performance since Kurt Russell first donned Snake Plissken's eye patch. She looks sharp with the weapons, spits out her one-liners with aplomb, and looks like an absolute beast in the brutal combat moments, including a hand-to-hand fight scene in the finale that's probably going to be a new classic of the form and likely the best one anyone does this year. It's fucking great. And she still gets a chance to actually act, since this is all trying to be funny or at least clever along with the excitement. There's a scene where she has to do the "here's the reason why I'm going to go get the bad guys" instead of escaping easily while I have the chance tough guy hero monologue thing, but she does her version by barely saying actual words and instead emoting via eyebrow expression, a guttural grunt, and a gesture you could probably teach a whole semester of acting school on. It's an incredible moment. Like, I sat there saying, holy shit, I just watched Ash say groovy. I just watched I'm All Out of Bubblegum, you know, one of those iconic action hero cool badass things that people will be quoting forever if people bother to see this. But while she's carrying most of the weight, the rest of the film does its part too. It's well paced, the jokes are funny, the kills are inventive and messy fun, there's zero fat on this thing, and the other actors all do their part bringing life to broad caricatures when needed. So all in all, a really solid B throwback actioner elevated by a great lead performance, which sadly decides to set itself the fuck on fire, undermine the very things that made it fun, and annihilate all that goodwill with a succession of dopey Shyamalan-esque plot twists, and thus I can only generously give it a 5 out of 10. So concludes the no spoilers version. Can't say I didn't warn you. Okay, so The Hunt actually has like 3 big twists, the first of which slowly reveals itself over the course of the movie and is fine on its own, I guess, and the other 2 of which come in at the end and taken together end up spoiling the whole thing. Twist number 1 is that, as mentioned, this human hunting story is about political alignment more than it is class, as is the traditional subject for the genre. The hunters are wealthy-ish elites, yes, but what really unites them is that they're wealthy-ish, super woke, progressive liberal elites who are so distraught at living in the age of Trump that they're venting their rage via the hunt. And thus their chosen prey aren't simply random ordinary people, but a collection of worst of the worst right-wingers, an endangered species big game hunter, like a Fox News Republican news bunny type girl, a conspiracy podcaster, an anti-abortion zealot, an anti-gay protester, some assorted bigots and racists. I think one guy was supposed to be in the KKK even. So the people the audience would have been inclined to root for, and probably are right away, before we know what's going on, you know, based on the tropes of the genre, are actually all kind of horrible assholes, it turns out, and the supposed bad guys are, well, still bad guys, plus they're the smug, condescending kind of progressive liberals. But now it's a little murkier. Either way, basically the two worst kinds of white people killing each other. That's a solid enough hook. And not just because there's a joke in there about white people complaining about white people being one of the bad guy things. But then they make it less solid with an added number 2 twist. The hunters aren't really human hunters, or rather, they weren't until they were. They're actually a bunch of work friends who all lost their nice jobs because one of them was doxxed online in a text message thread where they joked back and forth about how it would be fun to pull a most dangerous game on the deplorables, got turned into a fake internet outrage phenom called Manorgate, so the nominal leader of said work friends, played by Hilary Swank, decided they should get their revenge by kidnapping people who'd helped spread the Manorgate meme on the internet and doing it to them for real. Okay, that actually is kind of funny. But it leads to twist number 3. Gilpin's badass heroine character is there by accident. Yeah, they meant to abduct another woman with the same name, so not only is she not someone you'd try to fuck with on a hunt because you'd lose, she might not have been a deplorable right-winger type at all. In fact, she's the only character who expresses, yep, no political opinion anywhere in the film, and what few details she offers herself can be read multiple ways. And that's a fucking cop-out. That's cowardly. It's cowardly and it's pandering. See, most people see themselves as nuanced or closer to the middle, etc., when it comes to their politics, regardless of how extreme they may be either way. So turning your ultra-likable audience POV protagonist into an avatar of apolitical detachment at the last minute only serves to reaffirm that sense of comfortable moral righteousness in the audience, when what a film that wants to be treated like a big boy adult political satire ought to be doing is making that audience confront and consider their own views uncomfortably. Like, at least the straight-up reactionary version of this, where we're supposed to root for the prey unambiguously, or even a left-wing cousin to that, where it unabashedly took the hunter's side, or even an everybody sucks nihilistic version, where we just hate all of them, would at least have conviction. You can't cower and or nuance your way through topical satire. Jokes don't have lines. They have punch lines.